Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and today we have such an exciting theme and a real testimony of what can be done when you start to do the work. That's what I'm so passionate about, and I want to bring you a true, real experience from someone who I know is so special and is on an impact or on a journey on the inside, but also to help so many people along the way. So I'm super excited to bring in right now on this video, if you're watching it on youtube.com/Joseph Clough, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, we have Daniel Rochelle. Now, Daniel, welcome to the podcast episode. Now, what's really exciting about this is I've only done like 4 total interviews. The last one was Bob Doyle from The Secret. So you're following someone great, and you're going to be able to really share today some wonderful words of wisdom. And the one real reason what I really wanted you here today, because you have a special story to tell, and bringing you here, I think, will allow people to be seen, heard, and felt, like that they're not alone, where they can go with you on your journey. So great to have you here, Daniel. I'm so pleased and happy.
Yeah, man. I mean, what a pleasure to be here. It's actually a dream come true, and I'm so excited to be with a real person like yourself.
Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. I was saying just before, I'm always full of gratitude when people are excited to be able to speak with me. So that's so kind of you. So let's kind of dive straight in ultimately.
Okay.
To be fully transparent, you went through my program, my 8-week system, which is designed to help people let go of their biggest of the biggest issues. But what I'd like to kind of ask you right at the beginning, what do you feel like your main issues were? What were you going through before you took that crazy cool leap into your own personal transformation?
Right. I would say, first and foremost, an identity crisis. That was one of them. I struggled with imposter syndrome. Definitely a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, and a lot of self-sabotage. All of that was being medicated by drugs, alcohol. Alcohol is a drug, but just for your listeners, for people like myself, if I could be as real and uncut as possible.
Sure thing, go for it.
Yeah, man. So it was cocaine. It was a lot of, I'd say professional level drugs that would, uppers, let's just say uppers, that, would make me feel good. And then I would pair that with alcohol to just kind of even me out or whatever. But that was it, man. That was my medication for all those, those syndromes.
Yeah. So you touched upon a couple of important points there of medicating ourselves. It's so common because it's a form of sedation, isn't it? It's a form of trying to escape from the things that we really experience. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. So if you wouldn't mind just explaining for everyone, because it's such an important, especially today, it's so easy to sedate ourselves and try to escape. But if you were to know, just like thinking back, what were the reasons for you personally as to why you were sedating, why you were self-medicating through drugs and alcohol and so on?
Why was I doing it? I think it was to actually run away from what I knew I really needed to do, which was face myself. And I was afraid. I was angry. I was upset. I was sad. And it was easy to access, right? So being in the environments that I'm in, even though I'm in a safe place, being here at home, I was just able to get to that stuff. I was able to, alcohol is everywhere, like every store that you,
I mean, you
you
get it
walk in.
even delivered, right?
Yeah, you can get it delivered. Right, right. It was easy to access. Facing my fear, um, I had told myself was the last thing I wanted to do.
Hmm.
It was very familiar.
And you say like facing yourself or the real core identity.
Mhm.
What would you say that was? What were you kind of specifically kind of running away from about yourself?
Yeah, maybe the stories that I made up. Maybe I was just so comfortable, with being. Um, Maybe I was comfortable with my substances, with my medication. I was just really afraid. So I didn't even know really what I was afraid of. I just knew that this was something I could do. It was very self-centered.
Yeah.
Because I knew that my behaviors, were creating a literal hell on earth for the people that I loved.
And how
Um,
specifically?
well, I mean, every time I'd go anywhere, I'd be, I would have had something in my system.
Hmm.
Okay, so alcohol, drugs, whatever. As soon as I grabbed the keys to go somewhere, my wife, and now 5 children, would wonder, hey, is he going to come home? You know
Wow.
what I mean? And so, I may not have been, leaning to the side when I left, but, there's really no telling, where I was going to go, what I was going to do. I usually had a few spots that I went to, but, it was, hey, this could be it,
Hmm.
you
And
know?
we're going to get to like the big transformation of your mission and ambition very, very soon, which can be exciting for everyone. But it is interesting and important for people to know that like life can be really hard. Like we
Oh,
facing our inner demons or our inner identity is a scary thing. And it's
hmm
so easy to medicate. But then you kind of said then about your children and your wife.
hmm
I'm sure, like looking through their eyes or just observing where that would eventually be going if you didn't stop. What would you say? Because there must have been that wake up call. Because we all go for it, right? Like I always talk about the hero's journey. Like everything's okay to a degree, and then suddenly something happens, and it could be for a long time. But there's a moment where we go, we can't do this anymore. And maybe we'll get to what that moment was soon. But
Okay.
before that, how was it affecting your family, your relationship with your wife?
I think that she is the hero of this story, to be honest with you. She was the one who just loved me through it all. How did it affect her? She was uncertain, she was certain about the fact that she loved me. But there's a lot of fear that goes along with that too, as being the man of the family, being
Mm-hmm.
the husband to her, but the father of her children, and to the outside world, a really cool, great person, man. My personality kind of is somewhat of a chameleon. I just I can relate to a lot of people. And really listen and reach them. But on from my wife's point of view, man, I mean, constant imbalance based off of whatever I was doing or whatever I was going to do. She knew that if when the weekend came up or Friday nights or here we go. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And because I think that alcohol and drug abuse is such a it's a selfish thing, right? We think that we deserve it. You know what I mean? We think that, hey, you don't know what I'm going through,
Hmm.
so hey, look, let me do what I need to do. You've never been through this before, but yet neglecting the fact that this is hurting the people that we love and creating so much collateral damage. So yeah, her name is Chrissy.
Hmm.
Chrissy was she was a pillar of strength throughout this whole thing, but she was also on edge a lot.
Yeah, well, it was beautiful that you said that like she's like the hero of this story, and that's
She
such a
is,
because
yeah, she is.
sometimes what we don't see in ourselves, people can see in us, right? Like
Mhm. Good
you,
point.
like you said, you may not understand, you don't know what I'm going through, but
Hmm.
sometimes it takes someone to see us and go, do you
Hmm.
know what? You're more than that, or to be able to stay with you and try to help you and support you.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
think we all need a Chrissy in our life, someone like that to
it's
help
true.
us. It is a lonely journey. It's because it feels like you said, I'm backtracking, but you said you don't know what I'm going through. If
Hmm.
we say things like that, or if we have that shame and that guilt, it's
Hmm.
easy to push people away. It's easy,
Hmm.
but those people who take a stand for you, they're heroes. They're
They
like,
are.
and and of course, then they will allow you to eventually be the hero at the same time as well as you go on that journey. Now, before I did say I want to be able to get to like any epiphanies or what your wake up calls, and you don't have to answer as much as you want.
Okay.
How long did you have this relationship with the sedation or addiction? And were there any, if you're comfortable with, any reasons as to why you went through that or how it came about? Now, for some people, it could be family, it could be growing up,
Yeah.
friends. Would you be comfortable just say like how long you experienced this addiction and on the shame and the guilt or whatever you were going through, and maybe a bit of a history as to how it came into fruition?
Right. Well, I'll say, how long did I experience this? It off and on, through um, off and on for about maybe almost close to 20 years, I
20
would say.
years. That's a long
Hmm.
time.
It is. It is. Of course, it usually starts small and then it begins to snowball.
Hmm.
Um, but so it started in childhood. I had some very traumatic experiences as a child that caused some coping mechanisms for me. I later learned this after taking it a step further and checking myself into a rehab facility here in Gainesville, Florida. Um, and so knowing that, it started in childhood. And then I had I'd say by the time I was like 14, 15, I decided, okay, I'm just going to go all in. Went all in with my faith. And I tried to live the perfect life. I tried to live a life where, maybe if my parents saw me doing really well, that they would, that I would help my father maybe through his alcoholism and his depression and his stuff like that. And so um, uh, later, I would notice that it really wasn't making much of a difference. My relationship with him was strained due to, me going the direction of faith wholeheartedly and him kind of going, staying the same. Um, him and my mother were married for, I don't know, maybe 30 plus years. And the relationship was mostly good. But if he was, going off on a bender, then it's like buckle your seatbelts, everybody. There wasn't a
Yeah.
whole lot of domestic violence or anything, but Just a lot of moments to where you just didn't really know where it was going to go.
So that level of uncertainty again, a bit like from Chrissy.
Yes, level of uncertainty. So you can see how later on it kind of played in my life with my wife. But I guess to wrap it up, I gave up. I was saying that my relationship was strained with my father because of the way that I was going this way, and he was staying the same. But I wanted a relationship with my father. He actually gave me the music. He gave me my passion for music. He taught me how to play. He introduced me to my faith. And, so I admired this man. And I did not want a strained relationship with him. So instead of trying to beat him, I joined him. And got introduced to alcohol. It was always there, and I saw the negative effects that it had on my family. But nevertheless, I wanted to hang out with my dad, and so started doing that, and then it went on from there.
So you gave it a good little teaser what will be happening pretty soon when you talked about music, because there is something huge we're going to kind of reveal of where you're heading and what you've done having done the work. But it is interesting that being young, we model our family. Sometimes we go, I'm not going to do that. But it is easy to repeat the same story. Now, I know that you've said this before. You said that you wanted to kind of stop this in your family in terms of, I think you actually said to break the curse of this, right? You did say that. Perfect. So was that a part of the epiphany as well? Because sometimes we say we're going to break the curse of my family. Then it's not just about ourselves. It's for your children. It's for your wife. It's for something greater than ourselves. So was there before you joined the program and did the deep work, was there an awakening? Was there that epiphany of I've got to change? And was there a certain moment or an experience you went through, or was it a gradual thing?
I think it was gradual. Maybe I had experimented with so many drugs in one night and barely made it home, and it was just like, that's it, I'm done. This is my epiphany. I need to stop. But my wife was also pregnant with my 3-year-old daughter now, Kaylina, and when she was born, I just said to myself, man, I don't want her to meet this guy. And if it's gonna happen, you gotta dig in, man. She's worth it. You're worth it. Even if you don't always believe it. And I listened to a podcast. I would listen to the right stuff. I listened to a bunch of podcasts, and then yours popped up, and you were talking about some stuff as I'm driving my UPS truck, and I'm just listening to you in my ears, and I'm like, man, it'd be really cool if I could get with that dude. I didn't know how old the podcast was or what, man. But I was just like, I'm gonna try this. In fact, I was listening to you on Pandora, dude.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't even know I was on Pandora.
You're on Pandora. I don't listen to you there anymore, of course, but this was 2000. It's early part of 2000. And so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you ever so much. I appreciate that. But I'm not going to say bucks that you should leave it, and bringing it to your daughter, you said it's like a decision. We either stay the same or actually we take a stand. We want to be a different person for ourselves. And you said something important, which I think is a tricky one for people to grasp. So I'm going to try to break it down briefly before we kind of move on to the other questions. When we don't feel safe, for example, I don't feel worthy or good enough, there still be a moment where you've got to go, even though I don't believe it, I'm still worthy of doing it. So it's this
Right.
kind of weird double bind of unconsciously going, I don't believe I'm worthy or deserving or good enough or lovable, whatever it is for the person. But there's got to be that conscious moment of going, actually, my daughter is worth it. My wife is worth it. And deep down, I owe it to myself because I have this feeling of I am worth it to a degree.
Right.
Does that make sense? Is that kind of what you went through?
That is what I went through. I only mentioned one of my kids. I only mentioned Kaylina, but there were three older ones.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sanaya, Tayshawn, Zonray, and I put all those guys through it too. And
Yeah.
I knew that, it's like, how do you know that you're leading? How do you know that you're in front? Well, you look behind you and see who's following you. And they were following me. And I wanted them to see a champion.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to see a dad who was getting his butt kicked like on a week out basis by this substance. I had seen it, with a lot of the men in my family, like my whole life. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, God, if there's a way, man, lead me to that place. Put the right people around me. Show me a crack in the door. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Where the light comes in, and I'll go to it. So yeah, I did it for them,
Yeah.
even if I didn't believe in myself as much sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that because I think it's important for people to know that we got to stop it here because we don't want to pass it on. Because obviously
That's right.
you modeled, although you disliked it growing up, but you
Mm-hmm.
fell into that same path. And we've got to take a decision and go, am I going to repeat the same story? Now,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have children and you listen to this,
Mm-hmm.
repeating the same story in your life in people in your life, it doesn't make it any better. You've got
No.
to kind of wake up and go, I'm going to put just a decision for actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So with that, what would you say was the result for you going through the program? So we've gone through like what the past, the history, the decisions, and then kind of showing up for yourself. What would you say the program did?
Well, first of all, it mapped out what I wanted to do, who I wanted to become. I think it was like the Mind Mastery Manifesto.
There we go.
You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, I'm awake. I'm alert. I'm in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Today I will be this. Today I will do this. Like, okay, yeah. Yeah, I like the way that sounds. You know what I mean? Like, what did it do? It gave me a map, man. Sometimes in religious circles, and I profess my faith,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes, we say you just need to do this, you need to do that, but you don't always have a map, man. Hey, what do I do after I do a million Hail Marys or pray to Jesus or, you know what I'm saying? What do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give me a roadmap, and, if it's found in the Bible or if it's found in the Quran, whatever you believe in, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Your spirituality. I didn't have that, you know what I mean? And the men and the people that I looked up to, they had their own way of doing things. And so I wanted to do something, I had to do something different. The program showed me, Joseph, man, God, it showed me how to get there, man. Okay, let's find the core belief or the core issue. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Let's draw a circle around it. You know what I mean? Let's redirect this thing. Let me show you how to think.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a passenger in this like rogue like Uber driver called your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And your thoughts are just taking you places you don't want to go. I was like, oh, I have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reconfigure your thoughts, man. And like, that's what the program taught me, man. It taught me to have confidence and just, listen, just stick with it. And you will receive results. That's just a few of the things. I could go on for hours about what this program has done for me, Jay. It's been like, it's just awesome, dude.
Well, let's kind of fast track there, because I'm really happy you shared your story, because, and this is not, by the way, to sell my program as such, but more, like you said, a roadmap of what can happen and what we've been through and the reasons to wake up, and that we weren't given a manual for the brain, that roadmap to be able to figure things out. But you've gone through that journey. You've talked about your faith, and I don't really tend to talk too much about faith on my podcast, just because, but I'd love to as well, if that makes sense. But I don't like re-talk about my own personal stuff, because I don't want to like push it upon our. I think it's so important to find our own, like you said, whether through the Quran or the Bible, the universe,
whatever it is, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah, all paths lead to Rome, right? That's right. Like, it doesn't matter what vehicle it is, in my opinion. So I don't have judgment there. But perfect. Let's talk about how, having gone through the system, what has it allowed you to do now? Like, whether it be around your faith or whether it be about what we're going to be playing soon. Like, what's this next huge journey and vision and mission, ambition that you have, having solved that core identity conflict? Because that's what I'm excited about, where we're heading with this, where we're going, what kind of differences and impact that hero's journey. We solve it ourselves, and then something along the way, something else happens. Something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. So what it allowed me to do is find my purpose. Right. You get rid of, the identity crisis was the main thing for me. Feeling like an imposter. I was the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing. This guy for so long that I didn't even know how to be this guy, and even in that, right, that was part of my purpose, the duality of personalities, and how I even came to be, these two, this multiple personality, you know what I mean? But I was able to use my music to then even target that, you know what I mean? Target people who struggle with alcohol addiction, drugs, dueling personalities, it prompted me to go deep in areas that, I specialize in, right? Okay, you specialize in, adverse childhood experiences because you had them. You know what I mean? You got your degree from the School of Hard Knocks, man. You know what I mean? Let's see, what else? So it just allowed me to embark on that journey and everything that goes along with that, and meeting the people who I would then ally with to help me to bring this dream to fruition.
And that dream specifically for you, what's that?
My dream is to make music that helps people, that helps people to think, makes people dance, makes people, free to live and to be them, and maybe to reflect. I mean, that's my dream.
Yeah.
That's my dream. To free people through good vibes and music, maybe even talk to people, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It reminds me of a family member of mine, and they're going through a real hard time. And then one day they're in their car and this song came on, and it was a Florence and the Machine one, and like it was called like Shake It Out or something like that or something. But there was a moment when that song hit my family member and they just cried, but in happy tears of awakening, like I'm ready to shake it off, like to let it go, or whatever the key word is of Florence and the Machine song. But me hearing that song now, because they are very important to me, it sends shivers to me, because I'm with them on that journey. Music is so neurological, vibrating within us. And with the intention that you have, with the experiences that you've gone through, and the intention to help others who have been through that is so emotive, so inspiring in every way. So who, through your music, who are you wanting to help? Like, is there a specific kind of person? Is it someone going through addiction? Is it for anyone? Like, does it have certain, I mean, I've obviously heard the song, but anything specific?
Yeah, I think it's anybody who is living and breathing, because when it comes to these situations, when it comes to just a bad day, or you know what I mean, just dealing with the dueling thoughts, you know what I mean, negative thoughts. Maybe just people with alcohol addiction or whatever. I will say this: when I was released from the rehab facility, I had made friends in rehab, and as part of therapy, they found out I was a musician, and they were like, "Are you willing to play your piano and sing?" And so here are a bunch of people who are near suicidal. Whatever worst thing you can think of, right? Coming from sexual abuse and all these other things. And I started playing, the Piano Man song or whatever. And everybody in there is just, nobody feels pain. I mean, we are having a great time as a bunch of crazy people in rehab. I kid you not, man.
Moment, issues,
right? And
you're all together sharing that moment.
We are, and I have people coming up. I mean, it was basically like karaoke in in rehab, man. I mean, the counselors. I mean, the patients, everybody. How powerful is that?
So powerful.
And this is the gift that God has given me to use. Yet in my addiction, I was squandering that. So I can write, I can sing, I can play, I can share.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm willing to do. And had I not gotten with you, Joseph, and listen, this was one of the things I prayed also, man. I prayed that the Creator would put me in front of real people, okay? People who had a purpose, people who, put these people in my orbit. You know what I mean? I don't have hardly any of the friends that I used to have. That way I would know that I'm in the right place doing the right thing. And the Creator did that for me. I'm vibrating on a different frequency, and I can tell because of the people who are now coming into my orbit. Bottom line is, this is what I was put on this earth to do. And I, it's my prayer. It's that everyone who I am meant to reach and to touch, man, that they be impacted by this project, this journey that I'm on, in such a positive way, man, because I wanted to separate the real from the fake. This is real.
It is real. That's so awesome. It always gives me like tingly feelings knowing that together we can, because on the backtrack one bit, you rose to the call. That's so important. Yeah, you had those anchors with your wife and the reasons with your children.
Yeah.
But not everyone does, unfortunately, make that decision and rise up for that call to kind of put your hand out almost to go, I am ready to do whatever it takes. And you did that, my friend. And along the way of uncovering your value, your the gifts that you were given and the gifts that you cultivated and your passion and your purpose. Mm-hmm. You are a true example to so many people who've been in low situations or are in low situations right now of what can be done, and not only go through it, overcome it, but actually create something special through it as well. So I'm so happy that you're doing the work and you're getting your stuff out there. And now I think we should probably finish this off with your work. So this will be played in a moment or so. I want anyone to just listen to kind of hear, like when you listen to it, we know your journey. We know it's your heart. We know that it touches our heart at the exact same time. Like I've listened to it multiple times. I love the artwork as well. It's crazy cool of going through it. And I'm going to put the links for everyone here in the description, but a quick link will be josephclough.info, and put your t-shirt up right there as well, so we can all see it. josephclough.info/Mr. Gray. So all one word, Mr. Gray, which is Grey. So josephclough.info/Mr. Gray. And that's going to take you to all the relevant links to the music, to the project, to the videos, to where you're heading, what you're creating, and how even, look, if anyone here is wanting to support Daniel on his great journey to help others, go to josephclough.info/Mr. Gray and be a part of his journey, because he is making waves. That's the one thing I talk about, making ripples in the world. Yes. My analogy, I'm going to say this again. It came to me one day a few years ago. For me and for you, I'm sure, we were once a candle which was unlit. Something sparked. We see more light in the darkness. There's other unlit candles there. And we light up each one of those candles, and it takes nothing away from us. And we can enlighten that illusionary darkness by helping and supporting each other. So josephclough.info /Mr. Gray, it'll be in the description, all the places in the show notes. And Daniel, like I said, you're a superstar. And also my brother is called Daniel as well, so you share a great name in every single way.
That's the way it's supposed to be. It was meant to be, Joseph.
It is. Well, I'm so pleased you came into my life, and you're an example to so many. And of course, if anyone is interested in booking a call with us to go through that transformation like Daniel has, josephclough.info/talk, fill out an application. But I'm going to keep that brief, josephclough.info/talk, because the main thing here today is to shine a light on Daniel, because he is creating that spark, that flame, and to be able to create ripples in the world, the universe. And remember, no matter what you're going through, anyone out there, you can change. You have everything within you to make that change. You are no different from anyone else here. You've gone through some stuff, but you have the ability to make that shift. There's people like myself, Daniel, so many people out there who want you to change and transform in every single way. So thank you, Daniel. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add on to that, or to say, or to find a word or two, whatever it may be. It's entirely up to you, my friend, before we take it away with your music.
Yeah, man. I have another young man who's very near and dear to my heart. He's my best friend, and we have similar stories. And so, part of a large part of what I'm doing is for him. As one of his mother's dying wishes, she asked me not to let him go, and to continue on the path that I'm on. And just don't let him go, to keep him close to my heart. I will not shout him out on this program, but he knows who he is. I'm sure he's going to watch this, and I'm running the race for both of us, brother. I love you.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you once again, and a shout out to your wife, your family, and everyone who's been on that journey, and all the people you're going to be helping in the future, and of course that special friend of yours as well. So thank you, Daniel. Let's go ahead and play. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see the video version with the music. If you're listening to this podcast, you'll just listen to the audio, but we'll put the links to each and everything of Daniel's, because he is a superstar in every single way. So thank you, Daniel. And I'll speak to everyone on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.
Alcohol and drugs is not the worst thing that I've been through, but it just seemed like it was kind of a thing, like with the men in my family. And I was a part of it, and I wanted to be the one to break the curse. Friends, man, people that I love, just struggling, going around in a circle. I had to do something that a lot of people are not capable of doing, which is face my fear. I had to accept the failures, accept the things that I could not change, and become this person.
Did I ever get here? When did my powers leave me? Daylight reveals the face that everyone can see, but from deep within the night is holding me. What was I really thinking? That I could take the world? Who is to blame for all this chaos that I'm in? Could it be that weakness has consumed the best of me? 'Cause I'm only human, just a soul making his own way. Somebody save me from this silk conclusion. Don't know how things became this way. By the pressure of truth and lies designed to challenge me. Why can't I just start over with what I know right now? Maybe I could've, but after that I know I should've turned around, and man, it's all insanity. 'Cause I'm only human, just a soul making his own way. Somebody save me
Bye.